Hi folks, welcome to Chuck's Corner again. We have an interesting subject today, but before we do, I have to get my cup of coffee going here. It's the first thing I have in the morning and last thing at night, all right? Fantastic. We'll put this down here. We have an interesting subject today. Harry Houdini. Now everybody, when you think of magic, if you ask the everyday common person on the street, name a famous magician, they're probably going to say Harry Houdini. All right. Now, Harry Houdini was born, his real name was Eric Weiss, and he was born in Appleton, Wisconsin. All right. He was born in 1874, and he died on Halloween night in 1926. I mean, Halloween, that's a spooky time. But I'll tell you what, here's a picture of Harry's wife, Bess. She held a seance for 10 years, up until 10 years after his death, to contact him. All right. And nothing happened. But tonight, we're going to give it a shot. Let me just more or less, if I can get this match going, we're going to light this candle. All right. This is just part of this kind of a cool routine that I do a little bit here. Watch. Harry, are you with us? Can you make the picture frame move? Oh my goodness, it fell over. Can you see that? Pretty spooky stuff. So I guess Harry is indeed with us. But anyway, let me tell you a little bit about Harry, and I am by no means an expert on Harry Houdini. I would recommend talking to Dave Harvestad. He's really the expert, and if you look online, he has auctions. He auctions off a lot of Harry Houdini posters and so forth. So look him up. You know what? Maybe even contact him. I mean, he's a great guy. But anyway, Harry Houdini was an escape artist. He started off as a magician, and that didn't work out as well as he would have liked. So he got into escapes. All right, and he traveled. He challenged the world. He was known as the Handcuff King. And he took his name from another magician. Houdini obviously was not his last name. He took his name from Roberto Dan. And I have some books here to show you about him in a moment. But one more thing about Harry. Harry was the president of the SAM, which is the Society of American Magicians. One of the main things he did was debunked fraudulent spiritualists. Okay, I mean, he really did a good job. I mean, there's a lot of fraud going on. A lot of people didn't like him because of this. One of the persons he actually debunked was Marjorie. She lived up in Boston, and she claimed, you know what, that she could make contact and everything, and people believed it. I mean, then Harry built a box. It was almost like a bell box. It was a box with her head protruding and both of her arms and both of her feet. Under those test conditions, nothing happened. All right, so she was proven a fraud. So Harry did a lot of good things. He was friends with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, which is the author of the Sherlock Holmes books. And being an intelligent man, as Sir Arthur was, he believed in a lot of crazy things. He believed that Harry could dematerialize, and Harry himself told him, I cannot dematerialize. Conan Doyle also believed in elves and fairies. I mean, it was unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, for a smart man, he was something. But anyway, on to Roberto Dan. Roberto Dan, he was born in Blois, France. Okay, and he's credited as the father of modern magic. Now, what Houdini did was took his last name and he put an I on the end of it because he kind of looked up to him. And I just wanted to show you a little bit about Roberto Dan. Here's a pretty cool 2-volume set. This is very, very heavy. I mean, extremely heavy. This is from Christian Fechner of France. Very, very collectible set here. All right, one set it tells about Houdin's life, and the other one tells about his inventions. Now, Roberto Dan was a fascinating man, and I'd recommend reading about him if you can. This tells about his life, where he performed and so forth. And his inventions were absolutely astounding. He did a lot. He was a watchmaker, and he was given a book on magic accidentally from the library. He actually took a book out on watchmaking, and they gave him a magic book. That's what got him inspired. So he used his talents to actually come up with different watchwork, amazing things. Here's a poster of Roberto Dan. Okay, and he died of pneumonia, I believe. He was about 69 years old. In those days, there was not antibiotics. They had camphor, which is our equivalency of Vicks Vapor Rub. So that's really not going to do a lot to fight pneumonia. But anyway, he came up with some astounding effects, a lot of watchwork effects that did magic. Okay, he had the pastry chef, It was a little chef that came out of a little pastry place, and the people had a list of a particular pastry to pick. And it was a free choice, and they would put the menu on there and their selection. And the pastry chef would turn around, go back inside. You would see him inside with a rolling pin and everything. Then he'd come out with a tray, and on it would be the little delicacy that you ordered. I mean, it was amazing. He had a trapeze artist, which was called Antonio Diavolo. And it was amazing. I mean, for 1865 or somewhere in that area when it was made, this thing would swing on a trapeze. He'd let go with one arm, he'd swing up with both of his feet. It was all watch work. It was just amazing. If you have a chance to do any research on him, I would highly recommend doing it. But this is another book from the Christian Fechner set. All right. And this one shows a lot of his inventions. All right. So here's a lot of clocks he invented. I mean, some amazing, amazing stuff. I mean, a lot of his clocks were see-through. You couldn't even see any guts inside, but he had it so cleverly hidden. I mean, it was just astounding. This 2-volume set is still available, by the way. I'm also a magic collector, which I'm sure a lot of you know, and I was fortunate enough to get these about 15 years ago. I think they're probably about $400 now, $500, but you can still find them around. But it shows a lot about him, what he designed, and so forth. All right. In 1908, Harry Houdini did a bad thing. All right. He wrote a book called The Unmasking of Roberto Dan. And what you can do is you can still find a copy of this. It's very difficult to get the original copy. But he turned against his mentor. For whatever reason, I have no idea. Nobody really knows. There is speculation. You know, there's a few stories, but I don't know if it's real or not. But Harry turned against Roberto Dan, and he said he was a fraud, that he did not make his automatons, that he had a Dutch mechanician named Opre, he said, made it for him. And so, but it's, you know what, it turned out with research that it was just not true. So why Houdini did that, I have no idea. But Harry was great in his own right. He was mainly an escape artist, and he did accomplish quite a bit. And check him out. He's a fascinating piece of magic history. Thanks for stopping by.